From throwing a needle through a glass and the 5 Phoenix Iron Shirt technique, today we're going to take you through the reasons why no one can beat a Shaolin Master. It's past 4 o'clock, you've been looking for sleep for a long time by watching videos on the internet. You are gradually getting into the mysterious YouTube algorithm that offers you more and more improbable videos, until you come across a video of a 6-year-old Shaolin monk, who is hugging a tree trunk with his back and holding his little legs with his hands. It's hardly believable. You too want to become one with nature and reach the level of flexibility of these little Chinese warriors. Here you try to catch your feet by lying on your stomach. You feel that you are almost there, but you say to yourself that you can do better. The day has already dawned, so you go out to look for a tree to wrap your body around, like a Shaolin warrior. Once out of your cozy nest, it's cold, you're sleepy, but you don't give up. If a 6-year-old can do it, why can't you? You are in front of a majestic tree. You try as well as you can to reproduce the gestures of the small apprentice warrior. In vain. The situation quickly turns ridiculous, and you realize that you are alone outside while everyone is sleeping. It was probably a fake video. You search on the internet. The video is indeed authentic. You take the opportunity to learn about the Shaolin warrior trainees. You learn that their prowess of flexibility is not done overnight and in a snap of the fingers. In fact, at the age of 6, the Shaolins have already spent several years of training an exhausting martial arts regimen of all kinds. When you were just learning to walk, the Shaolins were already tough little soldiers. You go home exhausted, but what is sure is that you have found sleep. You didn't get to realize what you went out for in the first place, but you know more about the Shaolin warriors and can sleep like a baby. You've probably already stumbled upon an episode of one of the successful Mythbusters shows, and you probably watched the episode with a Shaolin monk who throws a needle with so much force and concentration that he manages to pierce a window and the balloon behind it. In slow motion, this feat is breathtaking. For sure it gives you ideas, and if you try to reproduce this extraordinary performance, a needle and a glass is easy to find. Now you are on your nth attempt, but nothing happens. The effect you have on your window is comparable to a mosquito landing on your window pane. Enraged, you burst the balloon by pricking it directly with that damned needle. This crazy experiment was a real waste of time and energy. You should have waited for the explanations at the end of the program. You would have understood then that it was practically impossible for you to succeed in your perilous undertaking. To pierce a window with a needle as if it were a dart, one must reach a very high level of discipline and energy concentration. Indeed, the movement of throwing a needle through a window is one of the 72 Shaolin arts which requires more than a decade of intensive training to master. You are a fan of superhuman feats, so you are not indifferent to the shows of the Shaolin people hoisted in the air on spears with their torsos. You certainly want to know if it's a trick? You then put yourself in detective mode on the internet. The websites specialized in kung fu techniques and Shaolin teaching have no more secrets for you. You then learn that this stunt is indeed possible and that it even has a name. The Tai Bu Shan technique, or the 5 Phoenix Iron Shirt, because the monk is lifted by the blades of 5 spears at once. You will also learn that the monk who performs this extraordinary and most dangerous feat comes from the Shaolin Temple at the foot of the Songshan Mountain in China, where he trained for nearly a decade and since the age of 8 to achieve this feat. You've probably wasted a lot of time trying to break a myth that isn't a myth, but at least you are an expert in Shaolin techniques and you have a lot of information about it, that you can go out in the evening and impress your friends. As you know, the testicles are a very fragile part of the human body, and it is for this very reason that all combat sports prohibit hitting the genitals. I bet you don't know anyone who can lift iron weights with their testicles, and you'd like me to tell you more. To do this, we headed to the land of the rising sun, and more precisely to a Shaolin warrior monastery. Now that we are facing these men in orange, very discreet and with shaved heads, one of the Shaolin monks starts to kick quickly and intensely, Son Goku style, in the private parts of one of his comrades. The one who receives the blows remains stoic and does not show any pain or discomfort. You see, if he is not in pain, it is because he has spent a good part of his life since he was young, training by dragging iron weights by his private parts. However, we do not manage to meet one in full exercise of testicles. This is surely done out of sight and in privacy. And that's just as well. No one can bear the atrocious spectacle of a young apprentice monk suffering martyrdom while performing this exercise, which is torture for our sensitive Western souls. You're sitting quietly, flipping through some boring TV channels, when suddenly you see a movie about Shaolin monks. And in this movie, among other spectacular feats, you see a monk breaking a brick with his hand. Unbelievable how he manages to do that. You are jealous and you absolutely need to learn this superpower as soon as possible. So you board a plane to China, with a negative COVID test in your pocket, and you arrive as best you can in Shaolin, a Buddhist monastery in the heart of China. Your debut as a Shaolin monk student is not easy. You get up at 5 in the morning. Until 7:30 a.m., you do physical exercises. Then 3 hours of martial arts and general education classes, and then more physical exercises before going to bed at 9:30. But still you get used to it. And not for nothing, because a few weeks later, you finally discover the secret of the brick-breaking monks. In addition to the state of extreme concentration and meditation in which they know perfectly well how to immerse themselves, since childhood, the monks repeatedly hit hard objects. Some believe that this creates micro-fractures on the surface of the bone, and that there is then a phenomenon of calcification that takes place, making the bone much harder on the surface and allowing this kind of feat. One of the reasons they can hit and break bricks so spectacularly is because they have killed their nerve endings, so their nerves are dead and they no longer feel pain. You are amazed and euphoric, but also a little disappointed and sad because you have just understood that you will never be able to do like a Shaolin monk, and in the end, it is not so bad because it would be extremely dangerous. Nothing is more famous than the clips showing Shaolin masters breaking stones and cement bricks with the strength of their skulls. In this way they exceed all the limits of the average human body. You may have always wondered how they manage to achieve such superhuman feats. In order to harden their skulls, Shaolin warriors start hitting sandbags with their skulls at the age of 6, moving on to wooden logs, and finally, after several years of practice, breaking stones. Some Shaolin masters reach such a level of endurance that even electric drills cannot penetrate their steel skulls. Now you know that in order to break everything with their heads, the Shaolin had to sacrifice so many years of their lives in training. You are sad because it is a little too late for you to start your Shaolin initiation, but at least you're highly motivated, if only to get off the couch and do a little running and lose the extra pounds you gained during confinement. You see this picture with this tree trunk full of little hollows. Nothing interesting at first sight. I'm willing to bet that you think these are bullet holes and that the idea that these holes are the work of human beings with the strength of their fingers has not even crossed your mind. Now you want to know more about this tree. This tree has been drilled by Shaolin warriors, who started at a very young age to strengthen each of their fingers by pushing wooden boards with it, to finally reach the diamond finger, and manage to leave impact points on very hard surfaces. Now you understand better why the bodies of Shaolin masters are considered as weapons. You must have already been confronted with a nail that sticks out and tears all your favorite clothes. This nail annoys you so much that all you want to do is remove it or drive it in properly. The problem is that it's rusty, and no amount of DIY can get rid of it. You then try to look for a solution on the internet. You find one that consists in heating the nail and then cutting it. But during your search for tricks, you have wasted a lot of time reading articles that describe how a Shaolin monk is able to pull 1,000 rusty nails out of a wet wooden board with his thumb and forefinger nails. You also learn that he went through years of training and pain to achieve this. So it's best to settle for the heated nail method to finally get rid of that pesky nail that's been wreaking havoc on your wardrobe. You remember your tender childhood years, the time when your greatest wish was to reproduce the acrobatics of Son Goku and Vegeta flying from tree to tree without any difficulty. You've probably tried jumping from couch to couch in your living room, imagining that you were flying like your favorite heroes, but all you did was get into trouble and get punished. Now you say to yourself that you were naive and that you can only fly in an airplane. Well, you were not far from reality, at least those of the Shaolin masters. In fact, the Shaolin masters are used to running with bags filled with lead or iron attached to their legs from a very young age, so that when they take them off after several years of practice, they are so light that they can jump over high walls, giving the impression that they are flying. This is the flying over the earth technique, saying that even your wildest dreams are achievable. Imagine a fight between a Shaolin warrior and an MMA fighter. Which one of the two will end up the winner? That's the question you're asking. No need to imagine this unlikely confrontation. Reality often surpasses fiction. The fight in question exists for real, and the Shaolin monk faces fighters of several disciplines successively. You only need a few clicks on the internet to find these exceptional duels, and realize how tough and strong the Shaolin masters are. Watching these fights makes your adrenaline level rise and your heart beat very fast. It is not for nothing that the ancestral Shaolin fighting techniques are considered by the monks themselves as deadly, and are therefore not suitable for any competition. Globalization is not all bad. It has pushed a Shaolin monk to leave his old peaceful monastery and face the greatest modern fighters, to give life to a show worthy of manga anime. That was why no one can beat a Shaolin master. Tell us in the comments which of these incredible Shaolin skills amazed you the most. And if you like this video, don't forget to us a like, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell to receive all the notifications and not miss any of our upcoming content.